Ladies and gentlemen, we want to welcome you guys to another episode of the Open Tabs podcast. Welcome, Joe Carlos. I'm Calvin Smith. Joe, how are you, man?
Doing well, brother. How are you?
I'm excellent, man. I had an excellent Thanksgiving weekend, man. It
Good to
was it
hear.
was it was fantastic. You were part of it, bro.
I'm proud to have been a part of that.
An
Thank you.
integral part.
Proud to have been Thank you. Proud to have been a part of that.
How was yours, man?
Uh, Wonderful. Thank you. Tiring, but
Yeah,
but for in a good way. So
yeah.
it's great. It's great to be in demand.
You did a
So
lot of traveling.
I did a lot of moving, brother.
Shout out to Dr. Joseph Carlos out there in Dallas, man. He celebrated another revolution around the sun.
Praise God. 76.
There he is, man. It's a
Yes,
blessing.
it is.
It's a
It is
blessing.
nothing but the blood of Jesus. So
Indeed.
yes.
Speaking of Dallas, man, and the snazzy jackets you got on, man, it's been a big night.
Yes, it has been. Mark Cuban is selling his majority stake in the team, in our beloved Dallas Mavericks. Um, and yeah, it is. And you know, a lot coming out. Well, a lot of news coming out of Texas.
Yeah,
Tonight there was
yeah,
the CFP standings as well.
yeah.
I've tried to explain that to my Confederates in Dallas, really,
Yeah.
about how these things are really going to fall,
Yeah.
and I think I'm correct in my assessment, and the penultimate listing of teams bodes well for my assessment of that, unless some
Yes.
crazy. Well, there are some rough scenarios, but I don't see it breaking for the Texas Longhorns.
Mm,
I just don't see that happening, and they shouldn't have lost the game. So it's
yeah.
not hard. Just don't lose.
Yeah.
So whenever you have the one loss, you're
Yeah.
asking for you're the biggest whiner in the room.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
You're asking.
so
Your fate depends on others.
yeah, too much. And then when the loss just continues to look bad,
Yeah. Yeah.
that's unfortunate. And the signature win is appreciating in value,
Mm, mm.
but there's only one signature win. So I do understand why Ohio State is where they are. And I said that on Saturday, actually,
Yeah.
too much consternation
And hand
but
wringing.
yes, I said that on Saturday. But I mean, I don't even know why we're still talking about Florida State at this point. Like, they're not the same team they were without their quarterback.
I mean, they said as much in the rankings tonight. I think it's just kind of like window dressing. I really do.
And to me, yeah, I agree. Sure. And I mean, an ACC championship is akin to a Big 12 championship. I mean, they're not two heavyweights. There's only one heavy. Well, no, there's two. Actually, there's two heavyweight bouts in these conference championships, in the SEC and the Pac-12.
Yeah.
Those are definitely going to be heavyweight championship bouts. So that's that is what it is.
Yeah.
But not in the Big 12, and not in the ACC.
Yeah.
So this is so I don't know why. So that it shouldn't even be, and not in the Big 10.
Yeah.
So that happened last week. Their championship game, really, the de facto championship game, happened last week. So it should be interesting. A lot rests on the shoulders of those college athletes.
Yeah.
College student athletes.
Hey, man, crazy things happen, man. That the way that Alabama game turned out last week.
Yeah, I mean, they were going to go to the game anyway, but I guess they wouldn't even been it wouldn't have been in the conversation with if they lost that game. It wouldn't even be a thing. Like, congratulations on the SEC championship, Jack. Let's just say they win. If they won, anyway, congratulations on that. But it wouldn't have mattered one way or another. Yeah.
But now they definitely can play the role of spoiler. I don't want to talk no more about that. So I'm nervous about it. Hey, man, our shout out to our contingency and our favorite group, me group. the Bama boys, the morning greeting on Saturday, which surely I'll be a part of in the accepts. So I'm looking forward to that, Chris Lee.
Yes, shout out to Christopher Edward Lee, Esquire.
Yeah, our dear Morehouse brother. And speaking of Morehouse, today Giving Tuesday. I'm glad to say that I was amongst the number that gave. And
me too.
You well, I mean, shoot, you give daily anyway.
I do, but we they came for the monthly a couple days ago, and then Giving Tuesdays. It's a double dip day. That's like Spelman. My monthly Spelman gift was today. Yeah, so I was like, I'm good. I'm not doing anything more than that. Leave me alone, in the words of Michael Joseph Jackson.
Hey, I'm trying to get my name in blue like yours, man, in the Spelman book, man.
This takes time, brother. I'm in 1881. I'm in the recurring giving, and I'm in the 5 years of consistent giving. As well. True blue, baby.
Yeah. Man.
So and actually, well, if they look at over time, I should be in at least one more. I should be in 3 because of the amount for the year. I should be in 3.
Yeah.
So I gotta double check on that. I should be in 3 of their giving societies.
All those
the lowest one, but
you're in the middle.
It's at least 3 figures. But it's the lowest. It's the lowest.
There's nothing wrong with that. Nothing wrong with that.
Yes.
And a lot of our listeners are HBC alums and Morehouse and Spelman specifically. We got a couple fam out there. Shout out to my fam people. You know what I mean? But if you went to an HBCU or if you didn't go to HBCU, this is a good time to donate to help sustain our colleges. We need us now more than ever. So Meharry, Morehouse, Spelman, Fisk, Jackson State,
fired up
Howard,
Jackson State.
all those places. So give when you can.
So like 2 Chainz. Go ahead. That song.
All right. One more thing before we jump into tonight's feature film.
Yeah.
Which everybody can see behind us. They know what's going on. But we went to see the game, man, and hey, man. Look, in spite of the mic troubles, that the hip hop artists had, the main attraction did not let down, man. It was great. It was fantastic.
No, the sons of Atlanta. They played a complete game.
They did,
and they played with pride.
They did,
and defended the home turf in an outstanding way, in a way that I'd never. This is my 6th season as a season ticket holder. The 5th one. Thank you. The 5th one in Mercedes-Benz for me.
Yes, sir.
But
inaugural PSL holder.
Thank you. Howsoever, I was gonna say I'd never heard it that loud. On that play.
Decibels, man.
Yeah, I normally we pump music in and shout out.
we got punished for
it. we definitely pump. There'll be moments I'm standing in the game and I look up like there's not that many people here, and I said it too. I said here we go, pumping up, and I looked up. I was like, oh my gosh, no, they are here. They are here, and someone could hear that and think however when I say I looked up and I saw the people, but that's fine.
They should take it exactly as it's intended.
I'd love for Jamal to know to hear that. I'd be like, ooh, look at you, enjoy your seats. Hey. Exactly. But no, it was electric, man. It was great to be there.
Yeah,
I can't think of a better game to have been there with you.
Hey, man.
Obviously, this is the biggest rivalry, and it's very, very special to.
It's always good to beat those visitors from that team.
Absolutely, it was pretty tame in our section.
Where
we were, but there weren't a lot of. They were a little farther away. There weren't a lot. It was very red and black.
I would say it was more sparks between us and the young man who came all the way from Minnesota.
Got a little drunk and but I don't want to ruin his time.
He's a very rabid fan.
He is very rabid. He's extremely rabid, and shout out to him, and
Shout out to
hopefully
Cujo.
yeah, Joe Goody, and and I hope he had a safe trip back and
Yes.
all that. So
Yes, indeed, indeed,
so
indeed.
even though Minnesota's not 24 hours away, I don't. There's nowhere. Maybe Alaska, maybe Anchorage.
That's what when he said that, I was like, "Oh, you came from Alaska?" He's like, "No, I came from Minnesota, and I didn't actually drive." Anyway, shout out to that guy.
Right. Then he said he didn't drive, and then
Yeah,
I was like, okay, bro.
It's always some interesting characters to show up for the guys.
Absolutely,
indeed, and I was one of them. So, yeah,
You
man.
were.
Look, this has been fantastic. And so when we discussed after the last show, we got a little bit of Reese was like, I don't like when y'all discuss after the show. I want y'all to, well, we got our process, man. You know what I mean? Like that's how we do our thing, man. But we came to the conclusion that we wanted to do tonight's film. Tonight's film is 1984. Back to that year, that magical year, 1984.
Oh, God bless it.
Purple Rain, Prince. And the Revolution.
Yes.
and the Time and the Monaires. All of them made appearances in 1984's Purple Rain. Joe, I'll be honest with you, usually for these movies that we review, I know a lot about the directors and all this kind of thing, and there's so much out there on the internet. Where Prince will claim that he directed, but there was another director that gets credit for this film. Who was the director? Do you recall?
I do not. I was trying to look it up.
And I think that says everything about tonight's film. Purple Rain. This is going to be divisive because I know a lot of
Albert Magnoli.
Thank you, Alfred.
Albert Magnoli.
Albert Magnoli. Okay.
Yeah.
I see. I'm sure he helped to produce some Johnny Fontane films as well, and what have you. But yeah, so 1984, magical time. We talk about 1984 a lot on this podcast. We talked about it on last episode. Tell me about your journey into Purple Rain, Joe.
Well, first of all, I want to just talk about 84 for a second. Okay. We just did Air.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's interesting. I don't know how it just kind of happened this way. Mm-hmm. We just did Air, that was set in 84, and Purple Rain is definitely 84, probably shot in 83. So it's even crazier. But as we said before, 1984, there was so much happening, man. The USA was up, man. We were way up. This was a summer film in 84, and this was just like another. So essentially, what you had was, Boy George and Culture Club, Karma Chameleon, and Do You Really Want to Hurt Me? And the name of that album, I can't remember the name of that album now. You had Cyndi Lauper, Girls Just Want to Have Fun. You had a little bit of Madonna from Like a Virgin. But I mean, you had the singles and everything. You had Bruce Springsteen, Born in the USA.
Yes, sir.
But if we're being honest, you had the son was Michael Jackson. I mean, Michael Jackson, Thriller was the son.
Yes.
And it was just all encompassing. And then out of nowhere, like a flare that just shoots up. Then you get this purple flare and this Purple Rain. Yeah. And I think it's his third album or third or fourth album at the time. And here we are. And so you get the album, and then it has a movie. And it's like, oh my gosh, huh?
And to your point, man, on the heels of like Thriller and the whole John Landis directed Thriller video, it's like, all right, hold my beer. You know what I mean?
Right. I'm gonna take it to another level. And I'm gonna go. But Prince didn't have the 20 years prior of, hey, this is who I am. You've grown up with me.
You're right.
So he had like a 78, 79 type thing. So if you think about some meteoric 4 or 5 years, man, where he gets a major motion picture release.
Yeah.
That's a pseudo biopic, and they release it. And then it's like one of his best albums.
Yeah.
So
absolutely.
If not his best album.
Absolutely.
That's debatable, but I think it is.
No, I'm with you. I
But
mean, it's in
but
the conversation for sure.
it's like his best album, and then they make a movie of it, which is essentially the videos in many respects. But it's so 84 was just, and then you have Ghostbusters, you have the movies, you have Ghostbusters, and so many other things that were just like amazingly popular. And at the same time, you have this, you have Can't Slow Down from Lionel Richie, which sold an enormous amount of records as well, and of albums as well. And there was just a lot happening, man, from January 84 to like August 84. Not to mention, of course, and as we said this from air, the Olympics. That was in LA that we dominated. It's like we were in control of everything. And if you think about it, this is like before, this is Cold War, height of Cold War, all that. Reagan is about to be reelected. But this is before, like, there's no Michael Jordan yet. There's you know, all these things that are coming. Rap is slowly creeping up. You know, My Adidas is out as well. You know, Raising Hell, that album is out. LL's about to come on. You know, Def Jam is about to like take it over. And it's crazy that despite all this, there was a room for all these personalities, and we just didn't know what to make of it. But regardless of it's kind of like when Raekwon says, you know, a lot of people have been waiting to hear it, because I know I've been waiting to hear it. You know, and we say that we you know, we joke about that. Such changed my life, but it's like, oh my gosh, I didn't know I needed to hear this at the time, and then there it was. And I don't know about you. I mean, I don't know about you, but this was like forbidden.
Oh, absolutely, man! Me. I'm so glad you touched on that, because that was going to be one of my main points. I couldn't,
bro. We could not.
No,
I don't. So whose house did you go to listen to this? Just to listen to the album.
So, crazy thing about it is, like, as much as my dad didn't like Prince, his sister, my Aunt Lynn, God rest her soul, loved Prince. Like Loved, loved Prince. Had like bootleg, like had Black Album, all, you know what I mean? Like, she gone to all the concerts, you know what I mean? Like, she loved Prince. So her house, you know what I mean? That's where I got my Prince education. That's where I got my Stephen King education, and my Prince education was from my Aunt Lynn. Because she loved him. But in my dad's house, him and Madonna and Tina Turner were persona non grata. Couldn't talk about any of those artists.
Really?
And I don't know his beef with Tina. You know what I mean? But
I'm shocked about the Tina thing. Like, okay.
Oh man, he called her the warthog, and I couldn't figure that out. I don't know. You know, C-Miles has some, as I do. I have some idiosyncrasies now. You know what I mean? But he definitely Prince. You could not. Man, I couldn't hum a Prince song. So, you know, and Joe, the video for When Doves Cry was everywhere. Even at that age, because I was 5 when this movie came out. So I was very precocious, very, you
touch,
know,
if you will, my stomach.
Joe, like, I mean, I was starting to have my formative memories at this time. And you know, I knew I wanted to be a doctor even as young as then. And Dr. Fink in that video. And I was like, Dad, who is that? He's like, oh, don't worry about that. That's Prince. We don't listen. You know, you're not supposed to be listening to that. You're not supposed to be watching that anyway. But it was everywhere. You couldn't escape it. You could not escape the When Doves Cry video.
No, you couldn't. And my dad would call him that Prince. Is that Prince?
That
like,
Prince.
Well, how do you? Well, obviously, you know it is, because you're spot on every daggone time you say, "Is that Prince?" So for me, I would go to my buddy Gino's house. Gino Young, shout out to Gino. I was able to see him perform last week in Dallas. I would go to Gino's house. So Gino's dad had every album. Uncle Eugene had every album. And which Gino had every album. You know, and so so it was between Gino's house and Tom Joyner. I was over there with Bert Joyner, his younger son. So between Gino and Bert, Gino's house and Bert, or Tom Joyner's house, I was able to listen to pretty much whatever I want to listen to. But specifically this album. And it got so bad. The film was released July 27th, 1984. My birthday is September 22nd. I turned 10 on September 22nd, 1984. And I turned 10 that year. And for one of my gifts for my birthday from my best friend Chad Clawetter, Chad got me a button, a Purple Rain button.
Oh wow.
And because that was a thing, like you put your button on your jacket, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
It was beautiful.
Like probably on a jean jacket.
Yeah, on a jean jacket. And it came in a Neiman Marcus box.
I love it.
Which Neiman Marcus did not sell those, but it came in a Neiman Marcus box. It's flea market $2 thing. Sure. And my mother forbade it. Oh, yeah. I was not allowed to put it on. Yeah. It just sat in that box.
Knowing what I know about Mama Hazel, that this is right there.
And it just sat there, and she wasn't down with Prince until Diamonds and Pearls. It took like 7-8 years.
Wow.
Not even like the Batman side, not even Bat Dance or
Scandalous. Oh, not even Bat Dance.
Not even Bat Dance. So the relationship with Prince is so weird because it was something like you weren't supposed to. So in your house, your father said no, you can't do it. It was like, is it the occult? Is it too sexualized? And you're 10, so you don't know.
Yeah.
Any of all the things they're trying to put on you, you don't know. And it's not like Sage today, she's listening to a lot of stuff on Alexa. Okay.
Yeah.
And I'll be like, you can't listen to that. Why not, Dad? And she knows there's a line.
Mm-hmm.
And she wants me to like talk to her about what that line is. And I'm like, no, we're not talking about that today. I just said, don't play it. So turn it off. Change the song. Mm-hmm. So I'll go to like Soul Food to Go by Manhattan Transfer. Like she's playing something crazy. I'm like, Alexa, play Soul Food to Go. But I switch it up. But I'm saying all that to say, but Prince was like just totally forbidden. Didn't say bad words.
No.
But did speak about extremely sexually suggestive topics and things. And then the whole androgyny was a whole other thing which was that Prince at the time, right?
Yeah.
And then what we didn't realize, much like Paul Simon, Prince is an artist who is going to constantly be evolving.
Yeah.
And would change, with the times.
Yeah.
And we thought we were going to get this guy. Like that was who he was.
Mm-hmm.
And like Love Sexy was interesting too. But we thought we were going to get this guy. But then he follows up a Parade.
Yeah.
And it's even a more deeper introspective person. He's still there on he's still on that spectrum of how close are you going to get to the line of just
a lot of the Camille persona.
Yeah. A whole bunch. And actually it kept going. Let's just be honest. It kept going for a while.
Sure.
But around the 90s, it kind of like just slowed up.
Yeah.
And he just changed everything up. I think he got more religious.
Yeah.
And then it just changed and became more about love.
Sure. Yeah.
Everything it stopped being about sex and it became more about love.
Sure.
So
I totally agree.
When could you listen? So when could you start to listen to Prince openly?
I would say
at Morehouse?
No. My dad came around actually. Dad came around probably right around Diamonds and Pearls, honestly, around the same your mom did. Yeah. And I think between there and then he came out with this bootlegs and B-sides or like this that tape that was like 3 tapes. And so Dad had that. And so, and that was the crazy thing. Like I know
what the hits or the B-sides?
Yeah, the hits. Mm-hmm.
The hits. That was my freshman year at Howard.
So that was like 93 then, right?
Yeah, it was 93. Yeah.
Yeah. So around that time, it was like, okay, like I was 14 then. So and I was getting into music heavy. So, because he had been listening, by this point, he's listening to like Digital Underground and all sorts of stuff. So, it kind of
what's the difference?
Exactly.
But I think the androgyny is the thing that scared.
It was he was pushing an envelope. And Rick James had done it to an extent, but not like this.
Not like that.
What I mean? And so, I think that was, if I could pinpoint anything, it was that. You know what I mean? Like, it wasn't as much of the sex as it was the androgyny and the whole controversy aspect of him and then how he leaned into it. And instead of
controversy.
Exactly. And by the way, this is album number 6 for him. So this is the 6th studio album.
Of course.
But,
why not?
But to your point, Joe, like the other ones had kind of flown. They were like,
if you knew,
right?
Yeah.
But it wasn't until like 1999 where he was like just really like, boom, and then this. So 1999 hit like 83, and this hits. So
So
You
I grew
know,
up with Tasha Taylor, Johnny Taylor's daughter. She went to school with us as
okay.
well. And Tasha was Prince one year for Halloween, probably like
Oh
82 or
Lord.
83. And but what's the name of the first album? Is it just Prince?
I think it was just self-titled, like
Yeah,
ubiquitous
it's Prince.
Prince.
But you know how
Yeah,
his hair is laid, how his hair was kind of laid like that.
yeah,
She was dressed as Prince for
nice.
Tasha was dressed as Prince for Halloween. And you know, at the time I was like, how do you know? But you know, Prince, see, Prince to me was just this guy.
Mhm.
Right, because 1999 didn't have a. It just 1999. It didn't have his picture wasn't on it.
Yeah, no,
And but controversy, he had the curls and everything.
yeah,
But the first album, she did her hair like that, right? So there were already deep. I mean, she's she's a soul legend's daughter. So she's gonna be into music, much like the Joyner Boys were as
yeah,
well, deep into the stuff, because you just can't
sure,
get away from it. It's at your house all the time, or they're at your house. So it's one of the two. But for me, it started to be okay around Batman.
yeah,
And it was like a big deal. Like, okay, he's got this whole soundtrack. Like, he did this, and none of the songs. Well, some of them were a little whatever, but my parents weren't listening that deeply. And
yeah,
then Diamonds and Pearls was about love, and so everybody just kind of like, okay, all right.
yeah, yeah.
And then I can't remember the name of the album like after that, whichever one had "Sexy MF" on it.
Oh, that was the
Um,
like the sign, the love
yeah,
symbol.
yeah. It was that
Yeah,
album.
and he was getting a
And
lot of play on Arsenio at that time.
yes. But again, it was a different iteration.
Yeah,
And then it was all the stuff about his name and all this
yeah,
stuff, you know what I'm saying?
yeah.
And it's like,
Slave
okay,
on his, yeah,
slave on his, and he was doing all that. And I
yeah,
think he then became not unlike he became more of a cause celeb. Like, these companies think they own you. Warner Brothers thinks they own me.
yeah,
And which was a brilliant move by John Peters and John Peters to put, like, oh, I'm going to produce this movie, and Peter Grubman, we're going to produce this movie. Of course, we're going to put have our biggest star do the soundtrack.
yeah,
In Prince.
yeah.
Batman and Prince have nothing to do with each other, but he was
No,
all in and made it instantly cool for a movie. And I know we're not even talking about the movie yet, but for a movie in a time in '89, 5 years later,
yeah,
when it was like you didn't know when Batman was set. You know
no.
what I'm saying? And then so for Prince to do the music, it's like, huh?
Mm.
What in the world? Like, it made no. It was just. It stamped it with some authenticity and instant cool.
Yeah,
That a
yeah.
comic book film that you were like, oh, a comic book movie? Because if you think about it, Superman didn't have any music other than the
No,
score.
nothing but the John Williams score.
Yeah,
That's it.
just the John Williams score. And then like Batman was like, no,
No,
we're gonna come in with a song.
yeah.
And I don't recall that from the others.
Mm-mm. No,
I think it was like an experiment that
yeah.
was done one time, and maybe
Yeah.
because it crumbled, maybe because the relationship was crumbling.
Well, they
Shortly
tried
after
it
that,
with
so.
U2 on the second album, and it just didn't, hold me through me.
You
Love me,
two
kiss me,
had something on Batman Return. Well, you know what?
Yep.
But like, I'm not. Well, I guess Kiss from a Rose
Yeah.
was on one
Forever.
of Batman's. Yeah,
But
Forever.
it wasn't one artist. You know what I mean? Like that's that.
No, yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, so Spike did that. Spike did that with
Stevie
well,
twice.
no, Stevie did it. Stevie did it for Women in Red.
Yeah.
But Spike did it definitely for Jungle Fever.
Jungle Fever, and I want to say, did he do one more?
No,
Maybe not.
No, he did.
He just did a couple songs on Bamboozle. That's what it was. Okay. Yeah.
Say it again.
He did a couple songs on Bamboozle. That's what it was.
Yeah. 14th century. Middle passage left. That's about an African.
I love, hey man, anytime we can get that Stevie impersonation.
Oh gosh.
Yeah,
sorry. Okay,
magical time in our lives.
Yeah, so 84. So then whatever Prince is,
yeah,
then he has he has a movie.
Yeah.
So if you have a movie, it's a thing of record. So
yeah.
I'm gonna take it as fact.
Yeah.
Yeah,
absolutely. I mean, look, so we kind of touched on where we were when we saw it and everything like that. You know what I mean? This is a bad movie, Joe.
It's not even bad. It's horrible. But I want to say this. This is a horrible film. But you know what? You know what Roger Ebert said about this movie?
What did Raj say?
I want to read this. This is direct quotes. Okay. Can I be human for a second?
Yeah.
This is Roger Ebert.
Oh, okay.
He said this is the best rock film since Pink Floyd The Wall. And he said Apollonia was electrifying. And he said the two love scenes between the most erotic love scenes he's ever seen in a movie in a long time. He said his music.
Didn't he write the Valley of the Dolls or something? The sequel to the Valley.
I believe he did. I believe he did.
I digress.
He said his music is good. The photography is good. The way they balance that fantastic stage presence with these intense little vignettes, which push the story ahead, each one not too long, makes it into a really interesting movie. Siskel agreed and said the film should be studied for the way it uses music dramatically. I have no problem with that.
Okay.
But, then he also said Purple Rain is a skillful, exciting, personal film. But can he play other roles, other kinds of people? I think he can. I think he has the stuff. I thought he was very strong in the movie. His dramatic scenes, he's willing to take chances. I mean, how many big rock stars would play a character who still lives at home? And yet it worked. Okay.
Did it?
No. To your point. It is the worst movie that has ever won an Oscar. Yeah, I'm fairly certain.
Yeah,
and I don't even begin to understand what. So I'm just going to look at what Big Raj said about the vignettes. They seem like it seemed, in my opinion. I don't. Before we get into our categories and all this stuff, I just want to say this. It seems like they shot the movie, they were shooting things, and then they had to go like do a show or do like a series of shows, and they come back to it. It seems like nobody was ever in the same place shooting the movie. It's kind of like Frank Sinatra duets.
Yeah.
So Frank is doing all his stuff from his house, in Palm Springs or LA. And then like Anita Baker is on another part of the, or Kenny G is playing at Kenny G's house.
Yeah.
And then the engineers put together, or Natalie Cole is doing her thing, or I think Barbara Streisand's like the only one that came to the house to record with Frank. Like Bono didn't record with him. For I Got You Under My Skin, even though that's probably my favorite song on the album. But I'm just saying, there's it's like Nat King Cole and Natalie Cole.
Yeah,
it's almost like they weren't
one
in the same place. Yes, exactly. It's almost like they weren't in the same place.
Yeah, these people were not in the same movie.
There's like 4 movies.
Yeah,
there's definitely 4 movies.
Yeah,
and as you and I discussed in advance, there's only one actor in the whole film.
Yeah.
I said none, and then you, of course, being the brilliant, omniscient, all-seeing, all-knowing national champion.
Hey man, I'm just a fan of the Mod
national
Squad.
Champion Calvin Miles Smith III, Mad Dog. One. You said no. Claire Swayze III is in it. It's like, oh shoot, there is one actor in it. There's only one actor in the whole film, and so it's like, and it's, if you watch it. Oh my gosh. If you get nostalgia out of the way and you just watch this thing critically, it's rough.
Yeah.
So it's rough.
One of our dear friends in common, Cash, this is he loves this movie. He's a Prince guy.
Okay.
And I told him we were doing this movie, and he's like, oh, I like it. And my good friend Geraldine Allen, she consumes all things Prince. And that's a great movie. What are you talking about? This is incredible. No, staunchly, no. This is not a good movie. To your point about doing the category. It's hard to do the categories, man. I mean, like we talk about, your unsung heroes and all this kind of thing. I mean, hey,
well, there's an unsung hero.
But people are doing their own thing in this film. It's not cohesive. I don't know why Billy's so mad all the time. You know what I mean? Like, the performances are great, and he's acting like, it's the worst thing on the planet. It's clear that Prince is the draw for the club, and he's acting like, I just don't,
Billy. I appreciate you mentioning Billy. We needed some background. We have no context. Well,
right.
I don't want to get into gripes yet. I don't even want to do that yet. I don't even want to do that yet. But I'm setting this up. If you haven't seen Purple Rain, just stop right now
and try.
Stop. Go to Amazon and watch Purple Rain. I'm guessing many of you have, including finally now Reese has seen Purple Rain now at this point. And to me, okay, so I want to say this. So I don't think I saw it until it came out like on HBO.
Okay.
And I was at my Aunt Jean's house and in like the summer, probably 85 or 86. No, it's summer 85, because Parade was after this, because I saw Under the Cherry Moon like summer '87. Like it was
God
on
bless you,
HBO
Joe.
like summer '87, and I did not understand what I was 12. I definitely didn't understand what that meant. What that movie was about. I watched it last year. I watched it this year, either this year or last year, and I still didn't understand what in the world that movie was about. But having said that, it was. But having said that, this is much better and more cohesive.
Fair.
Than Under the Cherry Moon. So this is his best effort.
Yes.
And this is the one, and he wins an Oscar for it.
And much better than Graffiti Bridge 2.
There we go.
The less said, the better. All right.
There we go. Now, having said that, though, we do enjoy the film. I think. Well, I did enjoy the film for a few reasons, and I'll get into that.
Yeah. I mean, and that's a great point, Joe. The film, although it is, because I try to watch films with like, both a discerning eye for like, I think what was that word that you sent to me the other day? The cineast, yes. For the cineast in me, I try to, really, enjoy the film from that standpoint. But I also am able to separate and just really like, I mean, the reason I love a movie like Norbit, just enjoy entertainment. You know what I mean?
I love it.
So, like I try,
it's ting ting.
And so there are entertaining moments, and there are some moments that penetrated the vernacular of our time, and like hit the zeitgeist of the time and stay with us forever.
That's
you know what I mean?
That's your thing. Yes.
Somebody should have a drinking game for that, because I'm gonna mention it almost every episode.
You are so good.
Yeah, man. It had those moments, and it's enjoyable. It is enjoyable. It's not something that like, like I'm just gonna pop in and watch, like, but like The Irishman, I just pop that in and just watch it. Purple Rain, I had to watch it with a purpose, but I enjoyed it. So who's your El Chico medallion unsung hero?
Oh, it's easy. That's Jerome.
Yeah, talk about him. I love it.
That's Jerome. I mean, so in this coterie of characters, actually, I would say Jerome is the other actor. If there's a second actor, I would say Jerome is an actor, even though Jerome was the only one I think that was like trying to act. Yeah. Other than Prince.
Yeah, he was trying. This is his vehicle. He was going to try to make
Jerome. In my opinion, Jerome killed every single scene he's in. He's hilarious, and Prince, who can't keep it together around Jerome at all, just is laughing like. He's laughing in almost every take they use. I swear. Oh my God, Calvin, when you watch the film, notice how many times he's about to laugh or break.
Oh yeah, like he's like what I thought about, Joe, was like the Chappelle impersonation of Prince, when he's always like kind of making subtle faces with his like. It was that every time Jerome's on, like he can barely. You're right, he can barely contain.
He could not contain himself because Jerome was probably so funny and hilarious. But he ate up the scene and ate the screen. And if anybody could take it away from Prince, it was Jerome. Yeah. But he did it in a very generous way. Yeah. He wasn't trying. He came to the set, knew his lines, knew what he was there for. The ultimate wingman, the ultimate valet. Yeah. Always there and loyal to Morris. Yeah. Right. And look. Morris Day is very entertaining. He's exceptionally entertaining. And when they're walking down the street and then the woman jumps out, Morris Day! Yeah. I mean, this is not aged well.
No.
And we're going to get into that.
Hilarious, though.
It was hilarious because it was verboten. It was hilarious, but it is aged horribly. Anyway, and I'm going to get into these gripes. I'm going to tear this. Anyway, I'm going to get these gripes about my feelings about this thing. But I thought Jermaine, I thought he was great. I thought he truly was an unsung hero. Yeah. And my favorite line is when he says, "So sexy."
He does it twice, and it's great both times. Yeah. Man, I double down on Jerome. And when he dumps the young lady in the trash.
I said Jermaine, I meant Jerome. I
knew,
sorry.
He dumps her in the trash, and then Morris Day's like, "Lord, such nastiness." Like
as though he wasn't a part of it.
Right, man. And to your point about Morris Day, man, I mean, he used this as a vehicle to he was New Attitude, the TV show he had with Cheryl Lee Ralph.
He had a show,
man. So Morris was doing his thing, man.
Oak Tree, the jerk out.
Hey, man, jerk out, all that stuff, man. I want to give a quick shout out to my man Billy again. Like, I still contend Billy's in a different film, man. But
please explain to people who Billy was in real life, though.
So Billy, well, you probably have more insight than me
I
on
think
Billy.
that was his manager.
Yeah. But
It was real mom and pop. Like Prince's stuff was real. It was super mom and pop though, man. Like that was, if I'm not mistaken, that was his actual manager. They just put his friends in the. They just made a movie.
Yeah,
that cost $7 million and made 70.
I mean,
like in 1984.
In 1984 money, man. Like that's like a $300 million film now. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it is.
And like I just, again, trying to put together, and I guess it's a fruitless exercise to try to put together like the logic and cohesion in the film. But what was he doing, man? Like, why was he so angry all the time? Like,
I don't know.
What was his beef with the kid, man?
We needed some. Okay, so back to your point, we needed some exposition as to why. First of all, how do we gauge who's doing well? If it's a review of everybody's shows, if it's a review, like the Time does something, the Revolution does something, Vanity Six is up there too. Then how do we say who's not packing them in? Do people walk away? People buy less drinks during that time? Like how scientifically, how does Billy know it's not working out? You know what I mean?
What was his valuation? Yes, exactly.
Yes. So what how did he what methods did he use to gauge, how effective Prince of the Revolution were or the Time was? Like, and why was the Time automatically good? And right. It's automatically set up like, no, the kid is just bad news. He's crazy. His dad's crazy, so he's crazy. All we do is we hear that. We don't see it necessarily.
No,
and we don't see, like, why did you sign him in the first place?
Right.
To sing there. I don't know how much money they're making. I have no sense of how much money they're making. I have no sense of. I think this happens over a week. Yeah, to be perfectly honest. This is like the story of the week.
I get. Like,
this is like a week in the life of 7th Street and 6th Avenue with the entrance on 6th Avenue, whatever, 7th Avenue. So I'm just really curious about that. I don't know why Billy was so angry.
But he was a promoter. He was a promoter in that area. Yeah,
he was. Yeah. But then again, I don't know why anybody felt the way they felt in any of the bit parts in this film.
Yeah. No, I agree, man. It just
So it's this Jerome for me. So I guess it's Billy for you.
Okay.
Awesome.
What's your favorite scene in the film, man?
I mean, the most rewatched scene is obviously
talk about it.
Minnetonka, but it's not my favorite. That's not my favorite scene. I don't know why. I love when the kid goes up and he starts playing Purple Rain. I mean, I know it's I don't make that to be a cop out, but to me, actually my favorite scene, as I say that, I guess I have several, but as I say that, my favorite scene is when they're quiet in the dressing room.
Mm-hmm.
They're like, come on, let's go out here and blow this shit out.
Yeah.
After the Time did too much when they came by, and they did far too much.
Oh, and Morris crossed the line,
knew
man.
It, and Morris knew it, but he didn't even have the courage or the man or the manhood to come back and be like, man, that was wrong.
Yeah,
I should have done that. But he has that little scene in the hall where he's pensive.
He's like, maybe I did too.
I went too far, and he knows he did.
Yeah.
And so Prince just sits there quietly, like, okay,
yeah,
all right. And they all get up, like, there's no words. We're just gonna go out here and blow this thing away, and no one even knows what they're about to do. That's the thing. Yeah. They haven't had a solid practice.
Yeah,
the whole movie.
Yeah, no.
So no one knows what they're about to. Somebody's not showing up, and
Wendy
and Lisa are mad, and
beefing.
Everybody's mad about everything.
Yeah,
and it leads into him opening up and being able to listen to other people's music.
Yeah.
And which helps his music.
Yeah.
Because the whole point is he's listening to his father's lyrics.
Yeah.
And Lisa and Wendy's music. But he performs it like no one else can. So
yeah.
That's my favorite scene. How about yours?
So for me, it's a tie between the performance of Darling Nikki. which is so petty. Like, I mean, I feel him. I wouldn't want to see Apollonia with Morris either, but
No.
man, whew, I mean, just that
Who's
was
paying
rough.
for this?
Yeah.
Who's paying for this? Morris. How much shade you have to ask? I'm
Go make sure she gets the bill. Yeah, man. And the Lake Minnetonka, like, or not Lake Minnetonka, as it were, scene where he's riding around on his motorcycle. Man, did he do his own stunts? Did Prince do his own stunts?
I don't know. That's a good question.
He's like, taking hops, taking jumps. You know what I mean? Like, he's doing a lot in that scene. But it's so great, man. I mean, it's just, I enjoy it. I enjoyed the little interplay with him and Apollonia for what it was worth. And that was, I mean, for young men of a certain age, between that and Action Jackson, it was a lot of
Thank gosh for both of those.
Prince has some young ladies out there for us to enjoy, man.
Yes.
And
thank you.
There was no real one scene with Jill Jones, but just anytime Jill Jones was on screen, I really enjoyed her as well.
She was so in love with him. She was so in love with him, and he was. I didn't even know. She was so in love with him.
Yeah.
And it was so obvious.
She was the Pepper Potts.
She is Pepper Potts or Moneypenny.
Mm-hmm.
And yet, like, he was so oblivious. Or he knew. Actually, he knew. He didn't care.
I'm sure.
He just didn't care. I mean, it was so 84. I'm gonna put my stuff on the board right here.
Yeah.
But she's just always there. She's in the dressing room.
Yeah.
Like, she's in the dressing room with them.
Yeah. No, yeah, absolutely.
Before they go out and hit that night, she's in the dressing room with them, which was so wild to me. When I watched it, I was like, why is Jill Jones in the dressing room? Like, I thought she works in the club. I thought she's like a waitress in the club.
Yeah. Oh, I forgot one other scene, man. One other scene. The Who's on First. Which
right.
Right. I mean, like, it's so obviously, like, I mean, it's not even really a good Who's on First.
Yeah.
But it still managed to be, like, hilarious for what it was worth, especially given the level of talent of those two guys in terms of acting. Just really funny, man. Did you have a character you hated in the film?
Well, Prince's dad. Hated him. That wasn't tough.
No.
And what was his name? Emil. What was his name?
Emil, I believe.
Emil.
No,
AR. Hated him. Abusive husband. Hated him. Abusive. No endearing qualities whatsoever.
Nothing to write home about there.
No, not in any way, shape, or form. So that's what I hated.
So, but let's talk about his mom for a second. Because, I mean, again, what was she about, man? Like, I can't have any fun. Like, what kind of fun are you trying to go out and have, man?
I don't know. I don't know what was going on. To your point, and we've said this, and I don't want to get in front of another category, but Clarence Williams III
is the only.
Well, Prince's parents are in another movie
altogether.
The kids' parents are in another movie altogether, and I don't know, like, if the movie was shooting in the same house where Prince, where the kid was, but they were in their own film. I mean, we're missing 2 or 3 scenes from then just to explain what's going on and how we got here, because there's just no explanation of that whatsoever, and it's so confusing.
I wonder how Clarence Williams III ended up getting that role. Like,
I mean, it's probably him or Morgan Freeman at that point.
I suppose, man, because
Danny Glover. Danny Glover's probably making Places in the Heart. He probably didn't have time to get over there and do that.
He was linking the Mod Squad, and then, like, didn't really do too much until Purple. He did one other film before Purple Rain. Called The Cool World, and I don't know much about that film. But and then
he wasn't Half Baked.
Yeah. Oh yeah, Samson Simpson. I stand on my word.
Shut your mouth.
It's your sister Sheila. Bitch, shut up. And my personal well, okay. One of my personal favorites is really truly enjoying his acting, which is Sugar Hill. I really enjoy Sugar Hill.
Yeah, I love his death.
But
this is my schoolboy. My schoolboy haircut. I'm like, golly.
Ray
Between
Nathan.
Ray Nathan, between that and Purple Rain, I was like, Clarence Williams III is insane. He is out here bad.
But he was in another film that we saw together, Life.
He was
Winston Hancock.
He was the great Winston Hancock. Yes,
very very tough guy.
Yeah, he had a lot going on in the 90s. He's doing a lot of work in the 90s. He was doing some stuff, man.
You know, Tales from the Hood with Nicholas.
Yeah,
you know.
Yeah, yep.
But I mean, like, I don't know if he owes somebody some money for this or what, man. But
it was. I don't know what was. You know, they said they shot that in Minnesota. I'm pretty sure though, when he pulls up, it looked a lot like L.A. Pull up to that house. And it's just like, what? To me, I literally believe it was a different script or something. And there was just a lot of things that they left out that they didn't tell us about. Because I couldn't understand anything. The only redeeming thing he said was, "I'd die for you."
Yeah. No, I agree.
I would die for you. That was the only thing he said, which, okay.
Yeah.
All right. Let's make a song.
Yeah. I mean, we've already talked about none of these people are in the same movie, so you know we can't really say who was doing.
No one is in the same movie. So when Morris is trying to get the girl group, that's a different movie.
Yeah,
it's a completely different movie.
It's a completely different movie. You know, it's at least 4 subplots going on all at once.
It's like a TV show.
Yeah, and ordinarily we say, do we need these subplots? We didn't need any of the subplots in this movie.
No. But anything with Apollonia is fine. Anything with Apollonia is fine.
Yeah. How about Apollonia being from New Orleans and actually, so she drove 15 hours and 14 minutes. So I'm spotting a lie.
She had plenty of money. And she had plenty of money.
And she had plenty of money. And she did.
Why didn't she pay for the cab fare? Okay, I'm gonna get back to that later. So I'm sorry.
So, you know, again, it makes some of these categories kind of
hard. Let's get to them. Let's run through them. I'm ready to,
you know,
visit it, but I love it.
This film is nothing but musical highlights. And, you know, I've already kind of mentioned, actually, okay, the scene itself for Darling Nikki was my favorite scene, but I have a different favorite actual act. Okay. What was your favorite actual musical act in the film, like the song or what have you? Like needle drop moment, whatever the case is.
Oh, I would die for you.
Yeah. That's a great one.
Yeah, die for you.
That's a great one.
Because I like outros.
Yeah.
I'm a big fan of outros.
Now they nailed it on that, man. Like it
killed
was,
it. Destroyed it. I mean, particularly after the emotional pitch. I don't know who made that decision, but after the emotional pitch of the performance of Purple Rain, then he comes back with that, and just goes, and he basically gives you every pitch he's got. He's fielding, he's hitting, he does everything in the Prince playbook at that point.
Yeah,
he shows us in that performance.
Yeah,
I believe he goes shirtless, takes the shirt off.
Yeah.
You know, the whole thing, does the little kicking heels and the little thing, and then licking himself and all that kind of, I mean, you see his tongue. I mean, he does every single thing that is at that point signature Prince. Yeah. And he does it in that song that he did not do at Purple Rain.
It's like he hit for the cycle.
Yeah, he did. He hit for cycle. He definitely hit for cycle. With a couple ribbies as well. While doing it. And so to me, it's it's the outro. For you.
Yeah, that's in my that's at the top of my list. I do want to give a shout out to Beautiful Ones. Beautiful Ones was, man, you get the, crawling around the stage, and like, he definitely left that one on the field as well. But the outro is probably the
Beautiful Ones. It's Beautiful Ones. So we rent this film. I'm at Howard University. We rent this film from the Blockbuster on Georgia Avenue across from the Howard McDonald's.
Up against the wall and all that stuff.
Yeah, up against the wall, Wonder Plaza, as it were. And we spend most of our Friday evenings with a group of suite mates who
Okay.
are first year co-eds
Uh-huh.
at the Howard University, and we're there. We fry fish on Fridays. We get
Yes.
some Bacardi and some Bacardi breezers, and we
Yes.
do it up. You know what I mean?
As you
So there was,
should.
as we should, and there was one that I taken a shine to,
Mhm.
and the scene comes on, and the beautiful ones,
Mhm.
and I got up and I perform it.
Oh,
And
Joe.
do you want him
Oh,
or do you want me?
Because I
Because
want
I
you.
want you.
Yes, I do.
Yes, I do. And to my own, detriment or whatever. But I just had to say it. And it's just I don't know if it was the white liquor or whatever, but
It definitely was the white liquor.
it overtook me, and I definitely performed that then. And because at some point when you're always already in, you just do
Yeah.
it.
Yeah.
And
You
then
fully committed.
and a couple of my boys, they jumped up in and they did it with me because they felt the
Nice.
same way about her compatriots
Ah,
and as well. So
did it work out for anybody?
everybody at some
Ah,
point.
yes.
At some point.
Well,
Yeah.
then it was all worth it.
And so it goes, in the words
And
of
so
Billy
it
Joel.
goes.
and and we're the only ones who know. In the words of
Hey.
Billy Joel. But now I've put it on wax. So here we are. But yeah, so I feel you on the beautiful ones. I mean,
Yeah.
that's a very special one for
Yeah.
me
Yeah.
as well. But just the first time I saw it, I was like, oh my gosh. And
Yeah.
and to me, it's I don't know. That's my favorite song from the album.
Yeah. I'd agree.
So
I'd agree.
that's an amazing needle drop. I mean, it's an amazing
Yeah.
performance.
And we're talking
Right
about an
there.
album. This is a no skips album. Like,
No.
yeah, you know what I mean. So to say
Well,
this
I don't
is,
know, Computer Blue. I don't know, but
I actually enjoyed it. Well, I enjoyed the performance of Computer Blue in the movie for sure. You know, I like,
I've got a short wick, but
that's fair. That's fair.
you got a far more sophisticated ear.
If I gotta skip one, I skip Computer Blue or Baby I'm a Star, maybe. You know what I
I
mean?
love Baby I'm a Star.
See, that's I'm not, that's one of my
Might not know it now.
Yeah.
And then when I want about it.
That's one of my things with Andrea Jackson, in our musical debates. Because she's an up tempo person, I'm a down tempo person. So, I'm always
I understand. I get it.
Yeah. That's fair. So, Joe, what we talked about a lot of other things. What are the little things in this film that stood out? Or any little things at all for you?
Well, there were, I don't know. This one doesn't really have, in my opinion.
I got one.
I was gonna say the only other thing I could think of was just like the band, the community among the bands.
Sure.
And how they took on the band took on the persona of the leader.
Yeah.
And so that was interesting to watch. Like all the guys had Prince's haircut. So did Wendy and Lisa in their own way. And so that was a little thing for me. Like we're all in.
Yeah.
On this. Like the shave aside the head, and they had the whole thing. Yeah. And we're all in on this. And that was a little thing for me. And the thing in the time, they all dressed in the suits and did it, just like Morris.
Yeah.
High-waisted pants and zoot suit type of thing that Morris had going on. So yeah. What about you?
I enjoyed the music scene of Minneapolis because there's a rich history of music in Minneapolis that goes. Yeah. I mean, Prince is obviously the banner.
Minneapolis.
Yeah. Yes. But I mean, you got Jimmy Jam and Terry Lewis, who are part of the time. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's Jerome's brother. Terry Lewis is Jerome's brother. Yeah,
that's right. And then that branches off into Mint Condition. Mm-hmm. So you get Stokely and Mint Condition and those guys. Mm-hmm. Low Key. There's a lot of little, Minneapolis has some
Minneapolis
great musical history. Janet. We wouldn't have the Janet we know today if not for Jimmy Jam and Terry Lewis.
A lot of Midwest love there.
And certainly my main man Alexander O'Neal, who depending on what stories you believe, was either a member at the time and was kicked out because he was too dark, or more likely cocaine had a lot to do with it.
He must have been doing a lot because I don't know who they were kicking out. I mean, I don't know what level. If there were any question.
Hey man, Alexander O'Neal, you
Much love
know,
for Alexander O'Neal.
he's doing his own thing, but he was Minneapolis style. He was that area. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
So, you know, Seventh First
great,
Avenue and Seventh Entry, that
great.
that club, you
Yeah,
know, um,
historic.
it's historic, and I love the fact that it's commemorated in this film. You know what I
Yes,
mean? And like, so
for all time.
yeah. So if you're a curious film watcher, and you're like, okay, well, is this a real thing? Yeah, this is a real thing. This is where it was at. This is what they were doing, you know, and this is where people became stars, you know. And so I really that stood out to me. I really enjoyed that aspect of the film. That little thing was my little thing. Uh, so this definitely was a as far as like black music was a
Mm.
genre defining film. Like
Hmm.
this, you know, you had
Yeah,
films after this that, you know, did, you know, what they wanted to do, you know, but this was it, man. It set the tone. Uh and for a lot of artists, like I mean, who ended up becoming actors and actresses after the fact, uh, you know, this set the bar for them. So we can use that category tonight and talk about that.
yeah. No, it
What are your
was
thoughts
very
there?
influential. No, I agree. It was very, very influential for worse or for better.
Yeah.
For people doing it. I mean, there's not a lot of good acting in this movie.
Nah.
But they finished it. They
Yeah.
completed a film.
Yeah.
And for better or worse,
I
they
mean, there's no
completed a film.
Friday, for instance, without
No,
this
no,
film.
no,
You know what I
there's no
mean?
Friday. No,
Yeah.
no, no, there's not a Friday. There's not a lot of films
Yeah.
without this, but you know, so it is influential, obviously, in that way, and in its use of music, because of the music. Not to mention, not just of the music, but of the hottest music of the moment
Yeah.
as
Yeah.
well. And so,
Yeah.
what
Absolutely.
better showcase for this brilliant creative genius um, than this, you know, semi autobiographical film? And he gets to showcase his music. He gets to act. He gets to put his friends on
Yeah.
as well, and his contemporaries on. He gets to shout out his hometown. You know, all these different things, and he did it, you know, pretty much his own way.
Yeah.
And so it's like, okay, well, we're good. We're chilling.
Yeah.
This is me, you know.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
so
Absolutely.
here we are.
What's your double feature with this?
Ooh, there's no other Prince movies.
Nah, absolutely not. Can't stomach
Um,
another one.
no, no. I don't know what I was thinking about this all day, and I could not think of. Um, personally, I, man, I do not know. I'm at a loss. I'm at a loss. What about yours?
So I probably would throw another, not quite musical, but music movie
Mm-hmm.
here.
Mm-hmm.
Probably Straight Outta Compton.
Okay.
And it's a good juxtaposition, you know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like, but like biopic kind of deal.
Yeah.
But to your point, it's hard because I mean, again, this is not it's not filmmaking necessarily, you know, but it's
No, they just
autobiographical. You know, it has
yeah,
that element to it. You know, I
yeah,
just as a palette wash, maybe like there's another movie. This is like kind of a spoof called Fear of a Black Hat
yeah. For
by
Black
Rusty
Cat, yeah,
Cundiff.
yeah, Rusty.
And I really like I might want to throw that in there, you know what I mean? But it's hard. It's
Yeah.
hard. It's hard to kind of, again, you know, it's hard to sit through it once. So let alone throw something else in there, man. What kind of casting questions would you have? Like who would you cast?
Every casting question. I mean, they're everything.
Yeah.
But
So there's the question of vanity, like, you know.
no, she stays. She stays.
Well, I'm
Oh
saying
no, I mean
vanity.
Apollonia stays,
Apollonia stays.
in my opinion.
Okay.
She was rough. It was rough, but she was working hard.
Yeah.
I mean, she's just so beautiful in every scene
Yeah.
that it's kind of like, okay, I get it. You know, sometimes that's just what we're gonna do.
Yeah.
And having Apollonia there, you're saying, would you have put Vanity in there over Apollonia?
Well, I mean, because Vanity, it was made for Vanity. The part was made
It
for
was
Vanity.
it was made for Gina Gershon. It was
Oh,
offered to Gina Gershon. It was offered to Gina Gershon, and she turned it down.
So
one of the
where
roles
am I
was
getting
offered.
this from? That Vanity was.
I have no idea, but I just in my, you know, cursory, I'll call it cursory internet research. I looked it up, and Gina Gershon turned down a role, which I can only presume was Apollonia, who was supposed to be playing an 18-year-old, right? Apollonia was supposed to be 18 in
Right,
this film.
right.
Yeah.
So where I saw was that he offered it to Jennifer Beals, offered it to so Vanity left Vanity 6 because Apollonia 6 is supposed to be Vanity 6.
I got it.
And then they offered it to Jennifer Beals, and she couldn't do it.
Mm-hmm.
And then I did see the info about Gina Gershon, but I mean,
unless she was in the Jill Jones role, I can't. There's not another role for her, so I presumed it was for her too.
Well, you know, I think it turned out better with Apollonia.
Oh, I know it. It definitely turned out better with Apollonia.
Yeah.
I mean, at the time, was there how many more beautiful women on the planet were there than Apollonia Kotero?
No, Apollonia Kotero was. I mean, you know, Prince had that eye. He always had that eye for the one.
Yeah,
you know,
at the time. I mean, that's with all due respect. I mean, God bless Vanity, and thank gosh for Action Jackson. But you know, fastest.
Craig T. Nelson, man.
He drove a car in the house. He drove a car in the house.
Hey, man, the 80s were
Sharon Stone. He jumps on top of a moving with Biff. Of a moving
Biff Tannen, man.
Yeah, Biff Tannen.
Thomas Wilson.
God bless
him.
I love it. But no, I the only other casting I can see. Look, I'd have no problem for it being Vanity, Apollonia, no problem. Okay,
yeah.
But I think for everything else, for the authenticity of it all, you don't put actors in those other roles because they can't perform like Morris can. You cannot replace Jerome.
No,
wouldn't even think of it. So everybody else is just a member of their bands.
Yeah.
You know, the speaking parts are members of his band, really, if you're honest. Lisa and Wendy, and then Billy, who's always mad, and then Jill Jones, and then his parents, Cryptic and Weird, another movie. And so I don't know. I don't think you do recast it.
No, I don't think you could. I don't think
leave it as it is because that's what makes it authentic.
Yeah. And so like I wanted to think about other iterations of this film with like his other. Like the Revolution was the only one to me that had a personality. I don't recall much about the New Power Generation or any of his.
No, I don't.
You know what I mean? Like
except for Diamond and Pearl,
right?
They were the two girls there, Diamond and Pearl.
But like you know, I mean, this is pretty much the only time he could have really done this, and no other iteration of his band could have done this. You know, as witnessed by Graffiti Bridge, because you know, like again, they left no impression whatsoever. So. You know, was there a heat check in this film? Was there anybody? I mean, I guess we already talked about Jerome. I would say Jerome was a heat check.
Jerome was a heat check. Apollonia. I mean, Late Minnetonka scene is a heat check.
Okay.
For boys of all ages. I mean, she was just. You weren't expecting that,
it just came
out of nowhere. He
didn't tell her. He didn't suggest that was like Minnetonka at all.
No, he did not. But she jumped in there and then put the clothes back on after being wet. I mean, all that leather, which was like really, there's a lot going on with that.
Yeah, and that was a freshwater lake.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well said. Well said. I mean, So. I would say that scene is a heat check because it was an alarm clock.
Sure.
And once you saw it, like, you know, it's on tape, so you're winding it back and forth. Yeah, winding it back and forth, trying to pause it.
Pop.
Yeah,
right at that moment.
A tape pop. But I other than Jerome and Apollonia.
Sure. Yeah, man. I did have one last note here that I wrote. I didn't mention like one of my lines that I really enjoyed in the film was Morris. I think at one point was telling Apollonia lips would make a lollipop too happy. Like I said, Jesus Christ, man! You know,
he had a rap, man. He had
a rap.
He had a great rap, man.
For sure.
And he had some things to say, and he wasn't afraid to say them.
He was not.
I want to also
what gripes do you have?
Oh, I have so many gripes. I mean, you know. Let's talk about let's just talk about the abuse.
Okay.
In the film. So just a lot of it. So he grows up in a house where his dad hits his mom. He hits Apollonia after she tells him she's gonna go with Morris's band.
Mm-hmm.
Morris, much like Spike, if you're listening to this, I'm sorry, but this is how I feel. Much like you know, Bleak was gonna put Clark down. You know, she was gonna feature Clark. He never did.
Yeah.
And Shadow said, you know, Bleak can only hear his own music. He doesn't have room for anybody else's music.
Yeah.
And
that's a good call.
Yeah, he'll never do that. And that's what Morris said in this movie, 84.
Yeah.
Mo Better Blues came out in 90.
Yeah.
So you know, you
that's
do
a
the
great
math.
call, Joe. That's
yeah,
a great
you do that math. And
yeah.
He says that, which isn't like it's not like this foreign concept, but he said it in a film.
Yeah. And so, Lisa and Wendy were saying that to an extent too.
They were everybody's saying it, but he literally says it to the love interest.
Yeah.
He says it, you know, a dueling love interest.
Yeah.
And professional interest and professional, you know, rival. And so but he hits her. And then later, and so then I'm thinking like, okay, well, he hit her, so they're done. But then later she like, after her show, after she's at her height, he then picks her up, takes her out to the under a bridge, and she's showing she's not afraid. And he's still trying to, I don't know what he was trying to do out there, doing something sexual. And then when she's like, all right, whatever you're gonna do, just go ahead and do it. Like,
get over it. Yeah.
Get over with. And then he's gonna hit her again, and he stops. And it's just like, what in the world? So that's it.
It's a lot of violence against women.
That's the conversation. Okay.
Yeah.
The next time she sees him, he's sung Purple Rain. He's run out of the place. He walks back in. Everybody's in the hall. She's sitting there crying. They kiss. It's all good. What happens the next day? Is it all good? I didn't understand. Like, he hit her.
Yeah.
Like, I don't understand. I don't get it. I don't get it. I don't. I mean,
movies were so cavalier in that time about violence against women and you know, the gender roles and everything like that. I mean, it makes no sense. It's not. It you know, from a storyline standpoint, there's no resolution. I think, you know,
there is no resolution in this story other than he wrote a nice song that everybody was vibing to.
Yeah,
that's it. That's the resolution.
Yeah. No,
it's saying that was
you could not make this film today by any means.
Oh hell no, you couldn't make this movie today. No. There's no way to make this movie today.
No.
But yeah, I didn't. So that's my first gripe is the anti-women. Actually, it's actually pretty anti-women.
Yeah,
it's actually very anti-women.
Yeah.
Despite the androgyny, it's very, very anti. You know, it's very anti-woman. Yeah. Lisa and Wendy, no, I'm not going to listen to your music.
Yeah.
They make the joke about, you know, the periods. They're nice. They're mean 28 days, and they're nice 2 days.
Yeah.
They make that joke.
Yeah, a lot of
misogynistic stuff there. Jill Jones' character is just like shat upon the whole time. Yeah. Just discarded or just around, even though she's absolutely beautiful and available, of course, and there, and just this lightning rod just right there, right? But no, nobody cares. And then you know, the way they kind of wrote that stuff with Apollonia and his mom, it's just like, it's really anti-women.
Yeah, no, very much so.
Yeah. I don't know. I'm sure if you look that up, I don't think anybody's saying that, but if you really watch it again today in 2023, Albert Magnoli, you know, it's pretty clear.
Yeah.
This film is not kind to women. It's like Aaron Sorkin's scripts. Not kind to women.
Very well. Yeah, spot on there, Joe. Spot on.
Thank you.
You know,
the other gripe, I don't know how long it took. The timeline is a little iffy for me too.
It's very
murky.
You know, I agree. The timeline is super murky. You know, again, like especially in the opening montage, the juxtaposition of like what's happening and what, like, it's disorienting. I don't know what's happening when, you know, I don't know if it's meant to be that way or if it's just like, you know, spliced like with videos, so they just can take the chunks out and throw them on MTV, which is the most likely thing.
Yeah.
It just
It reminded me a lot of Rocky 3 when he was preparing for the first fight with Clever.
Right.
It was just like all kind of stuff that they shot.
Yeah.
And they just said, let's just throw it all up there, man. We did all this, we shot all this stuff, and we're gonna use it in some way, shape, or form. But nothing was ever repeated, which I appreciated.
Yeah.
But you know what another little thing was? I'm sorry, a little thing for me was when they look in the crowd after there's certain songs and they just do a close-up on somebody's face. Yeah. And they are the oddest looking 1980s person wearing the weirdest stuff humanly possible. That was hilarious to me. And Woody Allen does that a lot, or did that a lot with, he's done that a lot with Stardust Memories and a few other films. He just has these odd looking people, and he does this extreme close-ups on them and with these tight frames. But they did a lot of that in the club, a lot of that, like who's listening to the music, how, and I think it was
these are the real people.
These are the real people. It was nothing but brother. They were all from Minneapolis. Minneapolis. I can't stop saying.
Yeah, man. They definitely, it had that concert feel to it, and
definitely had that.
Why not just make a concert? And then later on he does do that with Sign of the Times. Yeah. But it is.
I want to mention though, despite all this, despite everything we've said, obviously we enjoy the film. Yeah. And I don't really know why, but obviously we enjoy the film.
We like bad things sometimes.
We do we love bad things. Strange Brew. I'm about to watch that. I don't know if you've ever seen Strange Brew. Have you ever seen Strange Brew? No. What? Oh, Calvin. You got to do that. Okay.
It's Fargo season, man.
Oh, excuse me. Okay. Well, it's just a film. It's just a film. But on March 25th, 1985, Prince won his first and only Academy Award.
Yeah.
He was nominated for the now defunct Best Original Song Score category. Yes. And now, to explain that, for Best Original Song Score, you had to qualify as an original song score. A score must contain 5 original songs. Okay? So Michael Douglas explained that during the ceremony there in 85 at the Dorothy Chandler Pavilion. And it was called, sometimes it was called Best Scoring of a Musical Picture. Then it was split into original and adapted subcategories. And the Beatles won one and Henry Mancini won one. Okay. But in 85, there were only 3 nominees. Jeff Moss from Muppets Take Manhattan.
Okay, excellent.
He makes me happy each time I see you. Days go passing into years. I don't know if you remember that part.
I fondly remember.
Years go passing day by day.
Thank you, Jim Henson.
If you ever watch that scene, you should YouTube that. If you look at the back of the church, they're doing this thing like this in the back of the church. It is hilarious. Big Bird's there in the back of the church.
Of course.
Okay. So Jeff Moss from Muppets Take Manhattan. I'm so sorry for that. No. Jeff Moss.
It's the best kind of digression.
Thank you for the Muppets Take Manhattan. The great songwriter Chris Christopherson for the film, the songwriter, and then Prince for Purple Rain.
Okay.
And he won. He won the award. He went up there with Lisa and Wendy. And that's how he accepted it then. And it's crazy. I don't think he got another nomination.
No. Not even for Batman.
Not even for Batman, where he did an entire original. I'd love to see what won that year. But yeah, he didn't even win that for that year.
Little Mermaid won that year.
That makes sense. But Purple Rain won Best Album of Original Score Written for Motion Picture or Television Special.
Yep.
For the Grammys. Yeah. It did win a Grammy. It did win a Grammy.
So,
of course.
Is Prince an EGOT? Probably no Tony.
He don't have a Tony. Yeah, he don't have a Tony. Yeah. He probably had. I don't think he has an Emmy. He's a GT. I mean, a go. Go. Yeah, I doubt he has an. He does not have a Tony.
No, he does not
And
have.
I
He does
don't
not have an
remember
Emmy.
a Prince television special either. So
Yeah,
I doubt he has an Emmy.
no, he doesn't. He doesn't. He doesn't.
Okay.
He doesn't.
Yeah.
He's got a wealth of other awards.
He
So,
does.
yeah, man. So, hey, Purple Rain in the books.
Purple Rain in the books, man. Despite us tearing it apart because it is aged horribly.
It's a part of our culture, you know.
It is a cultural.
It's an essential part of the
touch
Black
point.
culture.
It is a huge part of Black culture, but it's a part of crossover culture as well.
Yeah, yeah.
Huge part of crossover culture as well. And but I dare say, if anybody from that time, or there's a time when, oh, I love this, and you go back and look like, damn, maybe it's a little messed up. No, this is not a little messed up. This is very, very messed up.
Yeah.
And there's no resolution. There's no apologies for how messed up it is.
Yeah.
But this is Purple Rain.
It's Purple Rain. And like, look, so to Joe's point, if you've never seen it before, and I know there are a couple people that probably listening that have never seen it before. But don't go in expecting, it's not Citizen Kane. You know what I mean? It's not Godfather.
Yes.
If you go in with those expectations, you're gonna be sorely disappointed. But if you go in looking for some fun, looking for to get a glimpse of what Prince was like, because we're like, how many years now Prince been gone? Prince has been
since
gone
16, so 7 years.
16, man. So,
yeah.
Jeez,
I never meant to cause you any sorrow. I never meant to cause you any pain.
Yeah,
only
man.
one time to see you laughing. I only want to see you laughing in the Purple Rain. Purple Rain, Purple Rain. I only want to see you laughing in the Purple Rain.
Yeah, man. And the greatest Super Bowl performance
ever.
Of all time.
Ever.
Yeah.
Ever.
The Purple Rain on cue, man. Hey, well, look, so we are on all those different social media ways to follow us, as well as ways to subscribe on your podcast streams, Anchor, Apple, YouTube. I don't know what other things, Spotify, anywhere that you're looking for a podcast. If you Google the Open Tabs Podcast, if you look for our hashtag, you'll find us. We are there. We're going to be going through some films this season, man. I'm excited, Joe. We're just getting our wheels back under us, man.
I know, brother. I'm very excited as well.
Yeah, man. So until the next time, I'm Calvin Smith. He's Joe Carlos. We'll see you guys the next time.